Hey y'all, it's Paula and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about a few things that you should never say or do to someone who has a disability, whether it is a visible disability or a non-visible disability. The first one, and the one that I think I get probably the most, is what's wrong with you. And I know a lot of people don't mean this in a malicious or rude way, but it can really be taken out of context depending on the person that you're asking. For me, I don't really get offended by it, but a lot of people are going to get offended because, first of all, having a disability doesn't automatically mean that there's something wrong with you. It's just the way a person is built. It's part of their life, and it's the norm for their life. And asking what's wrong can really make the person feel like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. Why are you asking me that? So just be careful how you ask someone about their disability. That's because that's gonna offend some people. 2 is telling somebody with a disability that it's so wonderful to see them getting out of their house. Because a lot of people, I think, assume that it's a huge ordeal for someone with a disability to step out of their house. When in reality, even though we do things differently, it's not that big of a deal to us. To, people with the actual disability, it's not that big of a deal. Because we find ways around certain situations so that we can get out and enjoy life. So just watch that one, because that one can be really, really, really offensive. The next one is telling someone that you know a great physician or priest or someone who can fix them. And guys, this one is really, really touchy. And most people don't mean this one in a negative way at all. I've had some of the most amazing human beings come up and say this because they genuinely believe that. And I am a Christian, and I just am, and I don't try to hide that, and that's just what I am. And I fully 110% believe that if the good Lord above wants to fix me, then He will. And if He doesn't, that's totally fine. I'm good the way that I am. I'm used to this, and it's not a big deal. Telling somebody that you know a great doctor or priest or whoever that can fix them, it again suggests, first of all, that there's something wrong with that person, which there's not. On top of that, I'm sure most people with disabilities already have a team of physicians and medical staff who know their disability and have tried or are trying to help them fix their disability. So just don't say that. Number 4. This one I can't stand, and it drives me up the wall. Not because it offends me, because it's stupid, and I'm sorry, and I know I'm getting heated, But this is the craziest thing in the world that you could say to someone. And it is the phrase, but you're so pretty. And I've gotten this before, a lot. First of all, talk about a backhanded compliment. Because it suggests that pretty doesn't go with disabled. Meaning that disabled people are supposed to be frumpy or non-attractive or whatever. And that is not the case. I have seen some of the most amazing, beautiful inside and out humans that have disabilities. So that one's just wrong on every level. Don't ever say that to anyone that has a disability. It's just wrong. The next one is more of a doing and not a saying. When people try to constantly do everything for you. And there are certain people or certain disabilities that require more help. And that is totally fine. But if a person is disabled, but they can do things on their own, let them do those things. Let them be independent, because for one, that is going to help their mental state more than you know. Trust me, I started learning how to be as independent as humanly possible at a very early age, just because it helps my mental state. It helps me stay positive, because there are certain things that I can do on my own, and there are certain things that I want to do on my own. So if a person can do things on their own, let them. Don't automatically step in and try to take over, because that's going to do more harm than good on their mental state. The next one is walking up to someone who has a disability and treating them like they're children by either saying, "Hey buddy," in a high-pitched voice, or trying to high-five them, or patting their head. I've had people pat my head and it drives me crazy. Don't touch my head. That bothers me. But just don't do this. This is annoying. This one is not so much offensive, it's just irritating. So just don't do it. The next one is assuming that every disabled person knows each other. I have had people come up to me and say, "Hey, my friend such and such has the same thing that you have. Do you know her or him?" No. And I have no idea who who the person is. I don't know them from Adam. Not every disabled person. We're not a cult, and we don't all know each other. So just don't ask that. Number 8. Don't just completely ignore someone's disability by just not acknowledging it at all, because especially for someone who has a non-visible disability like deafness or blindness or things like that, guys, that can be really, really, really offensive and sometimes harmful if you try to ignore the fact that someone has a disability. And this one is touchy, because I know a lot of people try to not offend the person by just ignoring it, but really you can do more harm than good by completely ignoring it. You don't have to dwell on it, but don't completely ignore it. Number 9 is being overly friendly. And that's some people's personality, and that's totally fine and that's great. But trying to be overly friendly with someone who has a disability, automatically they're gonna think the only reason this person's being friendly to me is because I have a disability. They're gonna get A, mad, or B, it's really, really gonna do something to their mental state, because a person with a disability already has a hard time in their own head making friends because of what goes on in their mental state. It's already hard enough for people with a disability to make friends. So just don't do that. Don't try not to be overly friendly. I mean, it's perfectly awesome to be, friendly, but just don't overdo it just because the person is disabled. Number 10. And this one I get all the time, and I don't get offended. Like I said, I am a very, 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 very hard person to offend. It takes a lot. You have to blatantly be trying to offend me for me to get offended, and then most of the time I don't even catch on that you're trying to offend me, and I still won't get offended. But it's looking at someone with a disability and saying, you're so inspiring. And this one, it can be so well meant, but taken so wrong. I can't tell you how many people on a daily basis, especially since I am putting my life out there online, will look at me and say, you're so inspiring, or you're so brave, or whatever. And a lot of the times I'll, just being the person that I am, I will say thank you, and I'm totally okay with it. But a lot of people, they're going to get offended because, once again, even though it's a well-meant compliment, it can come across quite patronizing. I'm not sure how you say that. I'm from the South, so I'm going to say patronizing. If the person has genuinely done something completely incredible, cool. That's fine. You can say that, and it's not going to get taken the wrong way. But if the person is literally just out at the park or out at Walmart, then it's going to sound really patronizing, and somebody's going to get really offended. So just watch how you say things like that. You can be, the nicest person in the world and mean it completely innocently, but somebody's going to get angry and offended and get their feelings hurt, and nobody wants that. So those were 10 things that you should never ever say or do to someone who has a disability. Just be very, very careful, because like I said, you can be the most amazing human being on the face of the planet, and you can be the nicest person. You can say one thing, it be taken out of context, and somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, even though you didn't mean it that way. So just be careful. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down there. Like the video by giving it a big thumbs up, and go up there and hit that red subscribe button, hit the bell, so every time I post a video. I post at least one time a week, sometimes more depending on my schedule for the week. But I would love for you guys to be part of the family. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.